All right. Good afternoon, everyone. A little bit of a lighter crowd today, but that's all right. I'm sure everybody's enjoying that sunshine and the new summer weather that we have in front of us. So, welcome to this edition of our State of the Castle. Thank you for joining us. And again, you have an agenda in front of you, and I want to give a special shout out to Maureen and a thank you as she took notes and follow up from last month's meeting. That is the meeting that is attached. So again, just wanting to hopefully better help you know that you are obviously being heard, but also where we are from a status standpoint on some of the things that may still be outstanding. So as always, we have a pretty full agenda today, and then at the end, of course, we'll take questions, and then I'm sure any directors will take questions as well. But without further ado, we will have Kathy Johnson, our resident council president, kick us off, and we'll go ahead and get started. Kathy, take it away.
How's everybody?
Great.
Good. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have to have my glasses, but let me take this off so you can hear me. Oh, hello. Something came across my computer today that is a message that I know we know. We see it everywhere. But it was so well done that I thought we need to hear this again. So I told Tyler I'm going to read an inspiring message. Each of us carries within us the capacity to change the world in small ways for better or worse. Everything we do and think affects the people in our lives, and their reactions in turn affect others. As the effect of a seemingly insignificant word passes from person to person, its impact grows and can become a source of great joy, inspiration, anxiety, or pain. The impact you have on the world is greater than you can ever imagine, and the choices you make have far-reaching consequences. Should the opportunity arise, the recipient of a good deed will likely feel compelled to do a good deed for someone else. Someone feeling the effects of negativity will be more likely to pass on that negativity. One act of charity, one thoughtful deed, or even one positive thought can pass from individual to individual. It could be the ray of hope that saves someone's life. Every transformation has a point of origin. You must believe in your ability to be that point of origin, to spread goodness. Consider the effect of your thoughts and actions and try to act graciously as much as possible. A smile directed at a stranger, a compliment given to a friend, an attitude of laughter, or a thoughtful gesture can send ripples that spread among your loved ones and associates, out into your community, and finally throughout the world. You have the power to touch the lives of everyone you come in contact with and everyone those people come in contact with. I just thought we all needed to hear that. So it's always nice to be reminded that we do matter, each of us, in our ways. So people have been busy doing things. The committees. I want to send out special kudos to Terry Sundberg for all of the work she does, not just on the garden. But I know she and Joy and my own husband have been faithfully out there watering. Roy goes out twice a day. Whoop, I'm going to check if watering needs to be done. So, anybody who's interested in helping, I'm sure. There's always something to be doing right now with hot summer coming on. So, but I did want to let Terry know how much we appreciate what she's done. Lifestyle Committee, and Barbara Hill and Pat Crump are both on the Lifestyle Committees, but they are looking for some additional people who might be interested. They get to plan with Stacy and her group what we do around here for activities. So it's really an important, wouldn't you say, Pat? It's very an important, active group of people engaged in really looking at what makes a difference in people's lives. So if you're interested in starting to participate in something, contact Barbara Hill, and she'll let you know when the meetings are, or just stop by. I think they're meeting every 2 weeks, every other Tuesday, 4 o'clock. I'm not sure where anymore, but last time you were in here, right? Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Movies. Speaking of lifestyle, movies, I know that there's a Roku coming, if it's not already here, so that it may be easier to be able to get more current movies and so on. So that's a real positive thing. We recently had Dr. George Lang and I did a presentation on do not resuscitate orders. And that is all part of advanced directives. If you did not get to see that presentation, it will be on channel 955 on June 30th. Ooh, Stacy, do you remember the time? 3 o'clock, I think. But that should be on your calendar for, I think it's the coming week. I do have handouts that can accompany that presentation. I'll probably stick some in the mailroom, which is essentially a summary of the information from the Wisconsin Health Department website and the Wisconsin law. So what that means in Wisconsin and what you have to do if you want to consider at some point in time adding to your advanced directives. And all of you have advanced directives, right? If you don't, I hope you will do that very soon. If you have questions, just let me know. And I know Dr. Lang is always ready to chat about that. A thing that we've talked about at council often is work orders, because things get very busy here, right, Tyler? And sometimes when you put in a work order, you may feel like it dropped into a black hole. So Tyler and I have talked very recently, and they're looking at that whole process for work orders, how to make sure you can keep track of where you are on the list, how things are going. That will be a wonderful thing. But first of all, when you put in a work order, when you call the desk or stop at the desk to ask for a work order, if you're using email, include your email so that you can be kept in the loop a little bit more easily. If you feel like it's been a week or so, week to 2 weeks, and you've not heard anything, call Tyler or Maureen, right?
Yeah, if Eric hasn't got it.
Okay, so if nobody's gotten back to you on your work order, please don't hesitate to call either of them to find out what's going on. Does that sound like a plan for the work orders? That sounds great. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. And if you're ever interested in committees, don't hesitate to ask about that. We're always looking for people who are interested in participating in the life of our community. So thank you. And next up is always Lindsay.
Good afternoon. So, from a health center update from the last time when we met, we've had a personnel change in our therapy department for a manager. So, Nicole Reynes, if you knew her, she was a PT and our therapy manager, has moved to Arizona with her husband. He got transferred there, so she had to leave, but is staying with the same company, our therapy managers, TMC. Replacing her is Andrew Levy. So Andrew's been at East Castle now for about almost 3 years. I'm sure many of you have interacted with him if you've had outpatient therapy. But he is a PTA by background and has jumped right in with the great training that Nicole and excellent handoff that she provided him. So if you see Andrew, congratulate him on his new position, as well as if you do call the therapy Jim, you will be talking to Andrew now moving forward. And then last time we also talked about our medical director change. In speaking with Dr. Ramanujan, he is open to accepting independent living residents, and I believe he already has one resident from independent living that he is now seeing as a primary care physician. So he also has a nurse practitioner, Emily, who comes on site up to once to twice a week, in addition to Dr. Ramanujan's visits on Tuesdays. So if you have questions on that, you can see Teresa for more information there. And then for a COVID update, currently we have no residents with COVID in-house. Yay. That is an excellent thing, as we had a little hiccup there, as everyone did in the city of Milwaukee, and we anticipate to see that with the upcoming holidays, the nicer weather, Summerfest kicking off tonight, and people getting out and about in the community, as well as the 4th of July upon us and group gatherings. As always, it is recommended washing your hands and wearing a mask in public spaces to protect you and the people you're interacting with. So just be cognizant of that with the upcoming holidays. So some things that we are doing internally here is we are following the CDC's protocol on the new guidance of being up to date with your vaccines. So if many of you remember that we talked about how our primary series, the first and second dose, were mandatory, and that used to be the terms to being up to date. Well, that is no more. Now you have to have, if you're 50 years old and under, a booster shot, and if you're 50 and older for our staff, you have to have both boosters in order to be up to date. So I know we had that booster clinic here. We'll probably be hosting another one for our staff with the health department. But for those who are not up to date, we are COVID testing 2 times per week based on Milwaukee County's positivity rate. Any questions for me? Yes?
Where is the doctor going to see patients?
As of right now, he is able to come to your apartment. And then with the new construction, there will be a new medical clinic area that will be available for that.
Where is he when he's not here?
He has a practice in Kenosha as well as a primary at other senior living communities. So he's around the Milwaukee area. He lives off of Prospect, so he's nice and close. All right. And next up is Majorca.
Hello, everyone. So first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for their patience these last couple of weeks while we kind of navigate the dining room being closed and transitioning into our buffets again in the future, as well as we had our little COVID blip there. So you should have all received a memo from Tyler and myself yesterday stating that we're going to hold off on resuming the buffets until the week of July 4th. So July 4th in this room, as well as we'll have some seating outside. We will have our 4th of July cookout from 11:30 till 1. And then that week on Tuesday and Thursday, as long as COVID stays at bay, we will resume our buffets in this room for dinner on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the grab and go buffet in the club room on Saturdays. We will also now include the menu for those days with the weekly menu. That way, if we do have a blip where we have to close, everybody already kind of knows what the menu is, and we don't have to try to get that to you and make sure you have time to place an order. So we've also updated that you can now ordered those items for takeout and delivery also. They're not strictly for just the buffet. So again, thank you for your patience as we kind of navigate these times, and we hope to get on our new dining program starting the week of the 4th and kind of continue that until the dining room reopens. One of the questions that I had was, can we resume the continental breakfast on the weekends in the club room? Yes, that was also outlined in the memo yesterday, that we are going to resume the continental breakfast on Saturdays. We will put out the full continental that we always do. Sundays, we still are not going to be putting it out because we do have brunch available. But just remember that coffee and juice and water are always available in there as well. If you were in the club room this morning at all, you may have seen the addition of the refrigerator on the counter. So in there, we have now stored the dairy products, milk, butter, yogurt, eggs, things like that. We have had some residents have concerns about milk spoiling, not being the correct consistency. We think it has to do with just the club room being a different temperature than the bistro was. So now you can always find those items in the refrigerator. We will stock it in the morning, leave the items in there throughout the afternoon, and always restock it again the next morning. That is the update that I have, unless anybody else has some questions for me. All right, well, the next up is Mike.
Thank you, Majorca. Buckle up, everybody. I only have about a half hour, so we'll get through this quickly and painlessly. First of all, some updates for the treasure chest. We are going to be closed on Monday, July 4th. You've just heard Majorca talk about the barbecue we're going to have for all of you. It's the holiday. We don't want workers to have to give up that special day, so we are going to be closed on Monday, July 4th. The reason is only because of the holiday. There's nothing more sinister at play there at all. For those of you that are Treasure Chest volunteers, I will be distributing the Treasure Chest volunteer schedules for the month of July, either today yet or tomorrow. You know, the July schedule begins next week Friday, so you all deserve a week's time to get that on your calendars. For those of you that are interested in volunteering for the Treasure Chest and have not yet had an opportunity to sign up, we have the months of August, September, and October in a 3-ring binder up in the lobby. You're encouraged to go up there, check it out, and just write your name in any of the slots, whether you are a regular volunteer now or not. We're happy to bring in new people at any time. So please, in the front lobby, we have the months of August through October, and feel free to put your name on a slot. For those of you that are curious where we stand right now with our Treasure Chest scholarship, we have $13,624 available right now to be given away as scholarships. Since 2018, when the Treasure Chest started, that means we've raised $50,624, and we've awarded 37 scholarships to date. Thanks to all of you. Thank you. If you have a favorite employee that you want to make sure they're aware of this and they should get an application into us, know that applications will be available on or about July 1st. I know I've talked about this for the last 2 months. Well, it's actually here now. And those student employees are going to have to get their scholarships back to me early in August. The dates are written right on the applications. Have them come and see me, or have them speak to their immediate supervisor, and all of the supervisors will know how to get applications. But sometime on or about July 1st, and kids are going to have only 5 or 6 weeks to get them together, because we want them to have the money in early September to pay their bills, and it's a time-consuming process. Regarding the Brewers game for this Sunday, we have several of you that have signed up. Polly Tarantino, Nancy Bolander, Rita Backlars, Helen Houston, Nancy O'Donnell, Barb and Alex Hill, Sandra Meyer, and Lib Fantry. If you think you signed up and you didn't hear your name, come and see me. Because we can still get you in. We've had a lot of adjustment to the registrations in the last 2 or 3 days. When you get right down to it, then there's always something that changes. So we have extra tickets. Please don't think if you wanted to come and your name's not on the list, you're out. Come and see us. We're anticipating the bus leaving East Castle at 10:45, I think, Stacy, is that right? And we're asking people to be in the lobby at 10:30. So for the 10:45 departure, food will be available at a little bit after 11. First pitch is at 1:10. The first 35,000 people into the stadium get a Brandon Woodruff bobblehead. So anytime you want to leave the tailgate and head into the Brewers game to make sure that you get your bobblehead, you're free to do so. There is a shuttle pickup and drop off that no more than 30 or 40 feet away from our tailgate area. If you plan on going and you don't want to take the shuttle bus, come see me. I have a map that I can give you showing where you will need to park, where the pavilion is that our tailgate will take place, where the shuttle pickup and drop off is. So come and see me. And again, I still have tickets left. You heard a couple minutes ago Kathy Johnson talking to you about advanced directives. Well, in philanthropy, we have another way of calling an advanced directive. We call it a legacy gift. And I'm very pleased to say that one of your neighbors has spoken to me and confirmed a legacy gift within the last month. Your neighbor has requested that he or she share with you themselves the good news about it, but I can tell you that it is tied to naming rights related to part of the construction. As we renovate rooms, as we create new rooms, as we expand our campus, we're more than happy to remember loved ones, families of loved ones, or maybe yourself. How does a legacy gift work? Well, just as an advanced directive, only it's a little bit past that. You can remember us in your will, or with the refund that you are due either to yourself or your estate upon leaving East Castle Place. You can create a document, which we have, which says a portion of this will be donated to East Castle Place. In the particular case that just took place, a naming right was attached to that. And there will be a name on a particular room as a result of the donor's request. If you're curious what options for things like that are, we're renovating the garden. There's opportunities out by the gazebo. Park benches are things that we will be putting out to remember people. There are rooms. Some of the bigger opportunities are the bar or the movie theater that we're going to be creating here. And you don't have to do it just by yourself. We could easily call it the Gudex Brever Movie Theater and have a couple of names on it if that's more to people's liking. I can also tell you that with the passing of one of our very beloved neighbors from here, Katie Phillips, we received many, many gifts in Katie's name. And her family has asked if we could do something to honor her as a result of that, somewhat of a legacy gift as well. And so a portion of the garden, a section dedicated to roses will be the Katie Phillips Rose Garden. So there's opportunities to remember loved ones. If you're interested in things like that, I'm seeing quizzical looks. You can ask a question in just a minute. If you have any questions about any of these things, come and see me in my office. I know these aren't the types of things that typically come up in meetings about specifics. Come see me in my office. Now, was there a question about the garden? I saw a couple quizzical looks. Yes? No? Later. Remember, I have cold drinks in my office and Girl Scout cookies. So come see me at your leisure. I'll make you welcome, and we will sit down, and whatever is confusing or that I got wrong, I'll be happy to correct. Any other questions that I can answer people about any of this information? All right, thank you very much. I think next up is Eric.
Next one.
Can I leave them? I did. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with just a couple follow-up items. I was asked, I believe it was last or the prior meeting, to touch base on any of the items that we had talked about in the prior meeting, kind of our follow-up. One of those was plantings on Downer. All the plantings on Downer were completed a few weeks ago. Grass was planted. The only two remaining items we have yet to follow up on there are going to be the bushes that seem to have not made it in front of the water tower signs. So we're looking to have those removed and some other plantings put back in place. The other item was the free cooling unit. I had a meeting with Richard Knadler on the free cooling unit just out here in the courtyard and the noise that's associated with it. Again, it is off for the season now, the season being summer. That unit does not run in the summer. It only runs in the transitional months of, well, I would say probably April, May, and then also October, November. It runs for periods of time to offset the mechanical cooling, and that's mainly the giant condenser that's on the roof. So that is off for now. And then last time was to unlock the compost bins. Those have been unlocked. We're only going to lock the ones that are outside. When it comes inside, we'll exchange the lock off of it so that there's never an issue there. Okay, another update we have, kind of a big one. On July 6th, you'll get a written notice, a memo, but I want to notify you now. On Wednesday, July 6th, we'll have a domestic hot water shutdown for the entirety of the day. So that's just your hot water, again, not your cold. It shouldn't affect toilets or anything like that. The reason for that is one of our domestic hot water comes from our boiler. That's where we get the heat to heat the hot water. A large valve needs to be replaced that isolates the boiler so we can do maintenance with it. So that valve needs to come off. It's going to take about a day to get it out and a new one put back in place. It's about a 10-inch diameter valve. It's a good 3 feet wide. It's very, very big. But that will be the day we'll have to have that shut down. So if you can coordinate your hot water showers, I assume mostly is the key point of the hot water, kind of around that time period, that would be very much appreciated. But again, I will send out another memo just to remind everyone, but just be prepared for that day. It will be without domestic hot water.
Will that take care of the problem over on the third floor too?
That's totally unrelated. That has nothing to do with this one is specifically related to the valve that we have to replace in the boiler room. Yep. And so the only building that really isn't affected is water tower, but we'll make sure everybody else knows. So, okay, and then on to the questions for me. First one. Yes. Can I just hold the questions to the end? I'll come right back to you, Catherine.
Okay.
I'll come right back.
All right.
For the resident questions, first one I have is some of us do not have access to the outside because we do not have balconies or patios. We'd like to be able to sit outside of any door or front entrance. The outside area of Lindsay Hall, that would be this way, it's just not up to our ECD standards. It would also make for easy access to the gazebo. Tables and chairs there would be nice as well. So I guess a lot of that's probably stemming from the fact that folks that don't have patios, we don't have access to the contemporary courtyard at this time during construction. Just as a reminder, some of the areas that have been underutilized over the years is the rooftop garden. That they've done residents have done a very nice job cleaning that up and maintaining that up there and building a butterfly garden up there. There are tables, chairs, and umbrellas up there. We're also made sure that there's tables and chairs available in the gazebo courtyard here as well. There's several different ways to access that area. For those of you that aren't aware, you can come in from the street side. There's a gate from the sidewalk. Your B1 key that you're given time you moved in, and we'll open that gate. There's also a door coming out of Contemporary. Now again, I don't always recommend that door because those are meant to be fire egress paths. They're not a traditional means of the comings and goings from the gazebo, if you will. Those doors are kind of heavy. Again, if you've used it and you're comfortable with it, by all means continue to use it, but just be aware that those are not the traditional means of access in the gazebo. There's also a fire egress coming out of the historic building. That door's been utilized as well. We can certainly, I have to take a quick look at the locks. These should be accessible to the outside through these doors. Our intentions for cleaning up that area actually starts next week. You got me a week early, so. We'll be going through that area to pull and do quite a bit of maintenance, just bush maintenance, pressure washing the patio, cleaning up some of the bushes that are overgrown into the sidewalk path. So that'll all be attended to next week, and that should be taken care of. My last question was, what is the schedule for checking the air conditioners, replacing the filters, and then scheduling the pressure washing the garage? Again, you will get those memos, but a little update just for here. The week of July 19th, 20th, and 21st, we'll be cleaning the garage out. So you'll get a memo as to where you can help us as far as removing your vehicle so we can get down there and clean all the necessary parking spots. We also typically at that time, we do a lot of light bulb maintenance as well. We replace as many of the bulbs as we can, some of the ballasts to make sure that it burns for the entirety of the next year, so we're not going there and replacing bulbs one here and one there. The next item was the air conditioning maintenance. So I've scheduled those for the weeks of July 5th through the 13th. So just after the holiday. Again, you'll get the memo. The folks it most affects is historic and contemporary buildings. They're two unique cooling systems, so we have to service them a little bit differently, but you will have the memo that will identify what day your unit is affected that will be in there cleaning. And again, the easy thing is the filters, but we also do like to make sure that in historic, the valves that open and close for heating and cooling are operational. We don't see any sort of water leaks that we need to attend to, anything that needs additional maintenance. So when we're in there, we're typically doing the filters. We're assessing, the valves, make sure everything works. If we see something that needs additional attention, we'll schedule that with you individually where we'll be back to make those repairs. And then similar with contemporary, we'll change the filter in the unit, but we'll also be servicing the condensing unit that's up on the roof. And that's where you don't see us, but again, if we see items that we need to come back for, we'll be letting you know and coordinating that with you. So those are the items that I had written. I can go to a few questions. Kathleen, you had one. I'm sorry to cut you off earlier. Go ahead.
Me?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. When you were talking before earlier about the cooling system and working on that, and
Right.
et cetera, does that also include the condenser or whatever it is on top of the Bradford Terrace that's up on the roof? That's very, very loud. And
that's a chiller, right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that before, because it's such a high pitch and it's constant. And you had talked some time ago about getting some sort of insulating something or other, or sound reducing something. And I was just wondering what's being done about that.
Good question. So what Kathleen's speaking to is we have a few chillers on the property. Chillers are different from our cooling towers because they have a compressor on them. And those particular compressors have a screw compressor which make a low hum. It's just the way they're made and the way they operate. However, sometimes based on age or just different factors, they can get a little too loud, maybe a little, that hum becomes a little noisy. In your particular, the one you're referencing is on top of Bradford Terrace, and you're only going to recognize the sound if you're in that contemporary entrance court, or I won't say courtyard, but the contemporary entrance, if your apartment faces that area. We have looked at some acoustical blankets that will wrap the piping and compressor. Tyler asked me to get some quotes on that. We've gotten a bid for $9,000 to wrap those compressors and associated piping. We are just waiting for those to show up, actually. It was 8 to 12 weeks to see those.
Oh, so you ordered them?
Yeah, we ordered those for a few other reasons. We actually ordered ones for the water tower building as well. Those the only other place we have a chiller on the property is water tower and the top of BT, and that unit services just only a third of the Bradford Terrace building. But we're trying to quiet those down just a little bit. And it's really unique the way that works, the amount of decibels it really takes down. It's supposed to only affect roughly 10 decibels, but we shall wait and see what it really, the effect it really has, to be honest with you. So, those haven't been ordered, we're just waiting on them.
Continuing on this nice issue, you left a message on your answering machine, I think yesterday, stating that 4 fan motors have been replaced. Could you talk about that and what effect that might have?
Yeah. So the point Mr. Kramer's making is actually about the unit I reference is the free cooling units. The air handler is just out here on top of our boiler room. So the people in the gazebo courtyard, those are the ones that be affected by that sound, if you will. That unit, the reason it's called free cooling is all there are there is just fans. It blows cool outdoor air across a water coil. That water is circulated inside, and that essentially, in simple terms, is the water that goes through the cooling coils in the apartments for historic and the hallways for contemporary. Okay? So there's 8 fans on top of that free cooling unit. We are looking to, again, that unit's not going to run until fall. And I am looking to put some CapEx money aside to replace 4 of those fans. I think the noise that we're concerned about, after I met with Richard, we went and looked at it, we discussed how it works, and tried to identify the specific tone that was coming off of the unit. And really, I think that we associate it back to a few bearings that might be going in some of the motors. So we're going to look to replace probably 4 of those this year before the next time we have to have that unit up and running. And that should help quiet down to the best of our abilities. Any other questions for me? Yes?
Am I the only one having the trouble with the door from contemporary to the gazebo area? I can't get it unlocked from outside.
Yeah. You stopped me earlier and mentioned that. Somebody must have, because someone put a work order in for that one too this morning as well. So I have to go and take a look at that door and see exactly if it's. And that's why I mentioned that is supposed to be an egress fire door. So it can be a little bit heavier, but you had mentioned I think yours is related to the lock itself. So I was going to go look at that yet today.
The lock goes the wrong way. Turn the key.
Yeah, I think something changed. Right. Yeah, I think something changed relative to it. So.
I used the lock just today and yesterday, so it is a really hard turn.
You can get through.
Yeah, and if it's the difficulty of the lock, we can go ahead and lubricate that to make sure it works a little smoother.
But the one at the bottom of the stair face over here.
So I'll go take a look at the contemporary access under that gazebo area. Okay. Any other questions I can answer? All right, thank you, Tyler. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I think we all can almost become HVAC specialists at this point with the knowledge you've given us. So now the question is, are we going to retain it? Third question is, will we really use it? Or are we just going to keep relying on Eric and his fantastic team to make sure we stay cool or warm, depending on the season? Also want to give just a quick shout out to Eric and his team for the landscaping this summer. I don't know if you've been able to walk around the building, but I think they've really done a pretty phenomenal job at the number of annuals, as well as just how they've been able to maintain the grounds, keep them as beautiful as possible. The rabbits are not part of the landscaping team, but they have made an impact. So Eric and the team are working through that. But those feisty little rabbits are definitely causing issues. So special thanks to Eric and his team, as well as all the directors that have been up here. I'm actually going to jump to the second question that is here. That's why we weren't notified of staff being off on June 20th. And so that I will own 100%. So as many of you are aware, and as part of our diversity initiatives at the community, we did recognize Juneteenth as a holiday for our staff members. That's going to continue. And so obviously the June 19th, which again is a very important day in our nation's history, was recognized on June 20th. So much like the 4th of July will be recognized on the next Monday, which we will have limited staff as well on the 4th of July. That was an oversight because it's a brand new holiday that we recognized here at East Castle Place for our team members. And so although we did have a presence, Majarka was here, our Human Resources Director was here, I do know that things changed. And so for that, I apologize. I will make sure that moving forward, all major holidays and when we do have staffing differences that you may notice, we will let you know. So again, I think the major impact was housekeeping. And again, that oversight I will own as well to make sure that we communicate that in the event that a holiday impacts your day of cleaning. So again, just something that as part of continuing to be the employer of choice, something that's important to our staff as well as to us here at East Castle Place is making sure we recognize those important holidays. Going down to back up, can we get a black and white copy of the floor plan of the first floor of Bradford Terrace? Well, I might have done one better, and I have copies available for you for the first and second floors of Bradford Terrace, if you would like. Maureen has about 10 copies, so only 10 of you will receive those. No, I'm just kidding. I just started that. I wasn't sure how many of you would be interested in that. I also meant to pull it up here. I apologize. We can go through that at the next C.G. Schmidt update presentation. Otherwise, stop by my office. I'm sure Maureen will hang on to one of those that she will have copies for. I just didn't know if everybody wanted those. So again, the first and second floor of Bradford Terrace, as a reminder, is going to be where our new assisted living residents reside. And so Lindsay and Carmen actually had a meeting along with Joe and Amy yesterday with all of our assisted living residents to update them on what that new space is going to look like, the new apartments, so on and so forth. The one piece of information that is not going to be labeled on that copy that Maureen has is the left-hand side, if you're looking at the first floor, is basically blank in very small 2-print font, because that's all that could fit. It says office hallway. That's where our offices are going to be. So if you remember where my office was, Anna's office, human resources, the main copier, all that will reside back on that first floor of Bradford Terrace. So that's the only piece that's not labeled, but you will see kind of the new layout of what Bradford Terrace looks like. Again, the new lobby area really doesn't change too much other than updates and finishes. So that is available. And if you would like a copy and you weren't one of the first 10, Maureen, I'm sure can get more copies for you, or I'm happy to email you that, as this is also where I'll put my plug in to the survey that is going out today from your communications committee to update your contact information as well as including your email. So the communications committee is a very active and very helpful committee to us, and I will share with you that we are seeing a lot of impact from them, and it's all for the better because we want to continue to improve the communications to you all so you stay informed. A part of that, the committee is taking on the task of really gathering your information. We would love to see your email on there so that as things come up, we can send out a quick email blast. We can also become more green. A lot of initiatives, a lot of communities are going to be impacted by this. But that survey is being put out, or has been put out, Maureen?
No.
Not yet. Yeah. Thank you. Maureen also has a few copies available that you yourself can pick up. Again, otherwise it'll all be in your in-house mailbox after the meeting today. Fill that out, put it in the mail room where there is a box located on the ledge in the mail room. The communications committee will gather those forms, alphabetize them, and then someone in Teresa's department, who Teresa's not here, so I guess I can label that, will have the opportunity to take the alphabetically alphabetized contacts and put them into a spreadsheet for us all moving forward. So again, July 1st is kind of that deadline we're looking for to update everybody's contact information. Even if you think we have it, we would love to see it so we can verify that and then include your email address. It also notifies you if you want it to be public or not. Obviously, I need it for business purposes. It will not be published outside of these walls, so we're not giving it to any, calls that you might receive from time to time, like scammers, which you do need to be on the lookout for. But please do take a look at that. Did I catch everything, Sandra?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I don't really know where I got off track on that, so we're just going to go into the construction renovation update. So, if you notice this week, there's a pretty large transformation into the interior courtyard. The interior courtyard started on Wednesday, yesterday. They should have come out today and make sure they lasered what's in, if there is anything inside that upper level. And I believe, I'll take a guess, I don't know for certain, but Monday you'll probably start seeing some of the jackhammering of the concrete in the interior courtyard, so it's going to be louder. As well as for 3 residents that have balconies overseeing that space, a little bit of dust. So do know that that courtyard is going under major renovation, as well as if you've seen inside the dining room, looks a little different. I asked Najarka if we were going to meet in the private dining room today, and she said, sure, Tyler. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, we don't have one of those right now. So the dining room, going under a major transformation. CG Schmidt is on track with what they're doing, so I'm very pleased with that. Again, I do know that this is change. I do know change is not easy, and I do know that this is impacting your lives here at East Castle Place, and I don't take that lightly. And so with that, I am wanting to make sure you are staying up to date. I do want you to know that the focus is in the next, by Thanksgiving, that you're having our Thanksgiving dinner in that dining room, in that new beautiful space, and keeping on track. But at the same time, if you have questions, concerns, anything of that nature, please do not hesitate to call, stop by my office, email me, send me a note. I want to be there for you to get us all through this huge, huge step in transformation to our beautiful community, to continue the process going forward. So that is kind of the courtyard and as well as the dining room update. CG Schmidt, quick show of hands, how many of you were able to come to that CG Schmidt presentation where you had Jordan, Pete, Carla, and Olivia up here? Great. We'll be doing those monthly. Again, same time, same place. I think the next one is July 15th. It's a Friday. Don't quote me on that. Check your calendars. And again, it just helps for CG Schmidt to be able to provide you the construction update, right from their eyes and mouths, so to speak. So hopefully you found that beneficial. One thing I do know is we forgot the microphone the last time. So I know those that were viewing it live stream may have not caught it all, but we will be doing presentations like that on a monthly basis. And last but not least, as part of follow-up from the last meeting, seems like all the other directors followed through on their parts, so way to go, guys. I still don't know where your mailroom is going to be when it comes time for the mailroom to go offline. I promise you I will know. I just don't right now. But I will. We'll figure that out. The mailroom probably isn't coming offline for another at least 3 months. You will not have to change your address or anything like that. It's just where your mail is going to be. So we'll update you. And at the same time, again, keep asking Gary if he wants to do mail, delivery room to room. That would be wonderful. But I don't think that's the direction the post office is going to let us. So, but that was my only follow-up from the last meeting. So with that, are there any questions that I can answer? Yes, Judy.
What's going to happen to all the bricks that are holding? Are they going to be repurposed, or are they going to get ground up?
So the question, I believe, Judy, is the retaining wall, those bricks?
Yeah.
Yes. Good question. I know they're being replaced. I don't know if we're really saving any because some are in distress and also trying to save them and repurpose them may not be the intent. We are saving part of the retaining wall, but I don't know exactly what's going to happen with all those bricks.
I mean, if C.G. Schmidt falls them away, would they do something with them?
Yes. I can ask Jordan if they're planning to repurpose the bricks. I mean, if you have any projects or you want me to set some aside for you, happy to do that. But I do not know where the bricks' next home is. Maybe another brick, maybe full circle of life. But if anybody has any projects, wants a retaining wall brick, let me know. I'll set some aside for you. Any other questions? Yes, Carolyn.
Could you explain the bar room?
Sure. Great question. So the question is about the bar, right? Well, we do have the roving bar. We are starting that back up, but I don't think that's the bar we're speaking of. The bar is going to be across the hallway. And so we strategically kind of put up the renderings on the walls. Special thanks to Mrs. Kulth, actually, who thought about that at the last meeting. We put them up. And so the bar rendering is right across from the club room. The club room and your current library basically get combined. Ceiling heights, things of that nature, and that is repurposed into your new bar / bistro / kind of club room area. So you're going to see walls come down and things of that nature. Then, of course, your library turns into where the fireplace room is, as well as other libraries throughout the campus. So that bar, bistro, Majarka and I actually were just talking about that today. And we plan to have basically a full-time type of bartender for happy hours, 5 days a week from, 4 to 8. So if you want that cocktail before dinner, you can have that. If you want, we're talking about potentially doing some, maybe some charcuterie boards or some small cheese and sausage trays, things of that nature that you can also order. Also, that's probably where lunch is going to be served, just because of the lunch crowd is generally a little bit smaller. If that changes, we'll open up the main dining room. Again, all that is to be seen, and I think that's really going to be driven by what you want and what you want to see. Majarka and I, have our thoughts. Obviously, we'll be looping in the food and beverage committee into what their thoughts are. But yes, that is going to be kind of where the bar is going to go, and kind of the thoughts behind the bar. Does that answer your question?
Yes. No drinking on the weekends?
No drinking on the weekends. Absolutely not. Not on Saturdays or Sundays, just up to Fridays. Well, we're probably going to have to change that. And again, that's just for our simple purposes. But, yes, you will be able to have drinks and things of that nature. Again, I believe you can still order drinks Saturdays, and I'm sure if you ask for a mimosa or something on Sunday, we'll be able to handle that too. So, yes, we will allow for you to have beverages 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 on leave. Sure. Sure. Carolyn?
So the wall with the refrigerator and the coffee and will that be going?
Yes. So think about the club room and the library, all going away. Brand new slate. Everything goes. So, obviously we'll keep the books and things of that nature. But everything goes, and it's a whole brand new transformed space. There will be a bar and a back bar and things of that nature.
Thank you.
Yes. Terry.
Will we be able to have meetings in there?
Great question. So the question is, will you be able to have meetings in there? Sure. If you need meetings and cocktails, I'm sure that you can definitely have meetings. But are you speaking of more like committee meetings and things of that nature? Right. Yep. So we're actually adding on the second floor 2 lecture rooms that will have basically screens and technology built in. The room size essentially is about the length of Lindsay Hall, not quite as wide. And then there's going to be a separating temporary wall that we can actually divide that into 2 spaces, plus the boardroom. So we're adding meeting spaces, not to mention then over in Water Tower, we do have additional common areas that we currently don't have. So I don't think we'll need to have it like we currently have with the overflows, because we'll have other spaces available. But you can definitely still have meetings in there and casual conversations, bridge. My vision and what I would love to see is for bridge to be going on in there in the afternoon with a ball game on, in the background, and just people enjoying it. That is the ultimate, what I feel, again, this is your home, but that's what I would love to see for that space. But absolutely, if you have a committee and you want to make it casual, sure, it's your space. Yes?
I was thinking, I saw several TVs on the walls in there, correct, in the picture?
Yes.
More than one.
It's a great place for Packer parties.
Great place for Packer parties, Brewer games. The Brewers are losing, by the way, top of the first, down by 2 to St. Louis, but that's okay. But yes, we would have the Brewers on. Touchdown. Right now, you saw the club room had the TV installed in there. Thank you to Eric and his team again. But we probably have one of the TVs dedicated for kind of that in-house TV channel, so that also when we have the concerts and things of that nature that maybe we need overflow, we could live stream it and have it in the club room. So yes, there's not quite Tyler's idea of, the Buffalo Wild Wings with the 16 TVs in the club room, but there are going to be 3 TVs right now scheduled for that space. And again, I don't know who's going to have the remotes, but we'll figure that out. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you have any details on getting the electric charging stations down in the garage?
Good question. Update on the electric charging stations. They are in the budget. I don't know where Roman is with them on the installation, so great question, and I'll circle back with you. It will be no later than July of 2024, or 2023, sorry, so next year. Absolutely no later than that. I anticipate that will be done ahead of that, because we do have some planned for Bradford Terrace as well. So again, my hope is that, before Christmas, we will have them available. But that's going to be a separate process and parking agreement kind of thing, because obviously there will be charges that are associated with those charging stations above and beyond the $50 monthly fee. But yes, the electric charging stations are for like the Teslas and the new, every car company has a new electric car, and they all have their own types of features and things, but we are going to be installing it, I believe right now. We're starting with 6 charging stations, and we have capacity to grow that to 18.
Great.
Trying to think forward. And again, that's special thanks to Eric in the early nuances of putting in the infrastructures, starting with, a smaller amount, but not having to reinvent the wheel when we do need to add more. Yes?
Have we rethought the 12-seat movie theater?
Have we rethought the 12-seat movie theater? No, we have not. Because unless we don't in this, at this point, have the space to kind of rededicate that. So again, right now, it's a 12 to 16 seat movie theater.
And also, did I hear that on the memory care floor, there will be some renovations made there as well?
That is correct, and you will be loved ones in the memory support neighborhood will be receiving another memo probably in the next 2 weeks or so about what the renovations are going to be going on up there. We are adding another activity space in that CDRF memory support neighborhood, as well as all new carpeting, flooring, new walls, and a few other items in our memory support neighborhood. So more to come there. Lindsay's kind of taking the lead on that one, so we'll see a memo for loved ones in the memory support neighborhood here in the near future. What other questions? So as you can imagine, there's a lot going on right now at East Castle Place, but our goal is always to make sure this is your home. And so I appreciate your understanding and patience as we work through this exciting time. I know that there's been some loud noises as you've walked past the walls and things of that nature. I like to think of that as progress as opposed to noise. So that's my frame of mind. But again, if there's questions regarding any of the construction projects, again, we have a new artwork committee that just got created, which I'm excited to work alongside to get in some local artists and how we're going to do that, as well as some other additions to the campus that I won't share yet, because I think the art committee is working through that. So more to come, but again, I appreciate all your input, all your questions, and again, all your support. So thank you on behalf of myself, but as well as on behalf of all the director team, and as well, the staff appreciate you as well, and the thank yous for the staff also are greatly appreciated. So with that, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and we'll do this again next month. Take care, everybody.